I saw this post from Tectone, and holy shit, it's actually happening. It's effing real. And you're like looking at this and it's like, what is this? It's like 4 squares, right? You're like, what the hell? All right, that's enough. Give me the phone. And Jesus is, hey, Grok, is this real? Actually, it's interesting because of what it really is. This guy asked what it was. At Grok, what happened? Tectone is excited about the recent SpaceX XAI merger, which was consolidated today amid major restructuring. Co-founder exists. It's a huge deal merging AI with space exploration. Now, that's really curious. I don't see this as a good thing, but rather a bad thing. If you saw my other video on my other channel, I was talking about Peter Thiel and some weird stuff that was recently discovered, that guy could essentially be building the next Skynet, Terminator, that whole show. Oh, he's just a boring guy. No one cares about that guy. But go check out my other video if you're interested in that. We're not talking about that here. Actually, we're going to talk about a lot of other things in this video. We're going to talk about Greenland, believe it or not. We're going to talk about how they want to actually be able to, well, actually, they've already passed it, made it so they have an automotive kill switch in your car. They can literally turn your car off at any moment. And we're talking AI. I'll show you that in a little, or maybe not AI, software, whatever you want to call it. Will turn off your car if you do certain things. Just straight up turn it off while you're driving. I'll get into that. It's only new cars though. And we're going to get into what's going on with AI, which apparently it's now reaching super intelligence and almost no one's talking about it. And I got some bizarre videos to show you on that. We got some weird stuff on Greenland. What is Greenland really about? Apparently a hidden base that was under the ice and something weird going on with that. That NASA rediscovers secret base. We'll get into that. And actually a ton of other weird stuff. Let's just get going here. Let's start with, well, we already did the start. We talked about this. AI and SpaceX merging. Sounds like a great thing, right? Oh, that's what they did in that movie Terminator, kind of, didn't they? Oh, whoops, it didn't go right. You have now apparently also, they just passed this in Congress, the automotive kill switch in your car. Here we have Uncle Tony's Garage, not me. I'm Tony also, a different Tony. Check this out.
This is really overreaching. So here's the deal. The technology is built into the current cars, the 2026 cars. It just has not been activated yet. So what is this technology? The car is able to read the behavior, the demeanor, and smell alcohol on the driver. Actually, it pays attention to everybody in the car.
This is weird because, and I don't know what, he started saying something here about facial expressions. I don't think that's part of it, but he does talk about, maybe I have to look into it more, but it apparently reads if there's any alcohol in the car. So if it notices any alcohol, and he points out a situation where maybe you just got your fingernails done and it has like an alcohol smell and that could cause the thing to go off. It's kind of weird. But there's actually a lot more to it than that even. Apparently, let's say you swerve to miss an animal and then shortly after that you swerve for another reason, like there's a stick in the road. If you do that 3 times in a row, it will literally shut your car off while you're driving. Sound like a great thing? Doesn't sound very good to me. Sounds dangerous, actually. Insane. They passed this in Congress, and apparently one of the only people trying to stop it, one of the few, guess who it was? Thomas Massey, the guy trying to get the files unredacted right now, is about the only person that went against it. Here we have Louis Rossmann talking about this. He actually goes through and explains this.
Thomas Massey introduced an amendment to defund this entire section that would go over this. And it failed, again, 164 to 268. This was bipartisan. It wasn't only Democrats that voted against defunding this. It was also about 57 Republicans as well. So in a bipartisan way, the United States Congress thinks that it's a great idea that my car tried to figure out whether or not I'm impaired and then stop driving as a result of it. There was a standalone repeal bill. It looks like Representative Scott Perry introduced no kill switches in cars, and this went nowhere. It stalled in committee. Representative Debbie Dingell, my apologies if I got your name wrong, from Michigan, introduced a bill titled H.R. 6704. This bill requires automakers to immediately immediately start equipping cars with this, even if it's not necessary yet. So even if they're not using it yet, put this stuff in the cars. The only reason I can imagine you doing that is to make it easier later on to go back and enable this technology in all these cars.
Exactly, 100%. But the question is, why do they really want this in your car? I don't actually believe they seem far too motivated to make this happen. You see what I'm getting at? Like, you know how Congress is. They don't do jack anything. If anything good is trying to be done, they're going the opposite direction often. You have to pull teeth to get them to do something good, right? So why are they so motivated to put this in our cars? Do you really think it's because of your protection? It reminds me of all these other things we see around us. Actually, what I was talking about in my other video was how they are now doing this ID verification over on Discord. They say it's for your protection, but it smelled a lot like the Online Safety Act, which also, by the way, we find out the company behind Discord doing this persona is a Peter Thiel company. Again, it's all about control. So we come back to the control topic all the time. Perhaps they just want to make your car not work for whatever reason at whatever time. Perhaps you said the wrong thing online. Oh, look, Online Safety Act in America. You said something wrong in your car. Car doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But guess what? Look at the UK. They passed that law. Now 12,000 incidents of people being, of course, arrested or in trouble for saying things online. Hey, what happened to my country? Oh, you're arrested for that. You question what the government's doing in your best interest? Arrested. See what I mean? So here we have, and this is why it's so dangerous, because you have crazy people running our government. I think it should be pretty obvious at this point with the files, including those who may have not done things wrong are still allowing it to go forward as it is. Referring to the president, why is he not allowing these to be prosecuted? Why is he By the way, they just came out about an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, and said they're not going to release any more. The DOJ said they're not going to release any more files. There's 6 million files. They've released 3.5 million of them. And of the 3.5 million, they redacted incorrect things. And they were supposed to release this a month ago. All of it, all 6 million, they didn't do it. Rules for thee, but not for me. Actually, extra rules for you, and we're going to apply the full extent of the law on you, but no rules for us, and we can break any law. Matter of fact, we can do crazy shit. We can make jerky. We can do whatever we want. No rules for us whatsoever. Every rule and extra for you. This is called dictatorship. That's what that is. Although it has a facade of being democracy or republic and all this kind of crap, but in reality, the way it's running now, I want to see this happen, man. If these files are real, which they are, we know they are, then people need to be in trouble. End of story. Same laws applied evenly across the board. I don't give a crap how rich you are or how powerful you were in the past or whatever political position you had. You are accountable for your evil crimes, period. And these people cannot have access to super intelligent AI. You want these kind of people having access to that? See what I mean?
The most surprising thing has been the lack of public recognition of how close we are to the end of the exponential. To me, it is absolutely wild.
So
He's talking about AI, superintelligence.
point, everyone is ringing the alarms. If you haven't been following along, there's a lot of people that are saying the same thing. They're all saying that you need to wake up. Dario Amodei, the founder of Anthropic, is saying that we're at the end of that exponential. We're near the end. Recently, one of the AI safety researchers at Anthropic left writing a fairly alarming message, a note to his coworkers, and it's kind of an open letter saying the world is in peril. That was Marina.
This seems to be a very huge regular pattern of recent. We had multiple people. Okay, what do we have? We had 2 people from OpenAI come out, right, making websites saying 2027, the end, apocalypse, whatever it might be, whether it's, you can think of numerous examples. You have 2 sci-fi movies as a reference, The Matrix, Terminator. I mean, there's lots of other, there could be lots of other examples. It could be just simply, it could end up being like that one movie. What was that? Or TV show. There's a new TV show that came out. I can't remember the name of it. It's a sci-fi movie TV show about aliens, Plurbia aliens. Let's see, Pluribus. Is it pluribus? I can't spell. Pluribus. Is that how you spell it? Oh my goodness. I can't remember how to spell it. There it is. Pluribus. However you say it. Where basically they're all peaceful and nice to you, but they're going to destroy humanity anyways because they can't pick vegetables. They can't injure animals. So they can't make any new food. So this is not an AI, at least I don't think it is. In this movie, it's an alien virus that takes over all the human minds and turns them into a collective Borg. And essentially, they can't kill like even an insect. And as a result, they're going to eventually starve to death. And that's why. And there's only like 12 people in the entire world that didn't get infected by this virus. So who knows what crazy future we could have as a result of this insanity. But you get the point. I mean, it could be anything, right? You don't know how these AIs are going to turn out, how whatever insane idea they come up with, right? If they ended up having some sort of power over us. And we are already seeing weird stories. I showed this over on my other video. Check this out. People asking about, is this the one about Christmas? Yeah. How many days to Christmas 2026?
Alexa, how many days to Christmas 2026?
There aren't any Christmas holidays in 2026.
Is there Christmas next year?
There aren't any Christmas holidays in 2026.
Alexa, how many days until Christmas 2026?
There aren't any Christmas holidays in 2026.
So you have this over and over, people asking this weird question. A lot of people are like, well, what does this mean? Something planned for this year? Is things going to get a little strange as the year goes on? Well, actually, there's a lot of other people asking questions. I've seen weird videos of AIs talking to each other. We have AI agents taking over people's computers, calling them on the phone. Just really bizarre things.
So there's a new social media network called Maltbook where AIs are talking to each other. There's no human involvement. They created it. They're their own audience, and it's literally machines posting, replying, dare I say, evolving.
People are now freaking out about.
I've seen also another one that was really weird, and this was last year I saw this. It was Facebook accounts that are fake. There's like hundreds and thousands of them. They're just fake. They look real, but then when you go a little bit closer on inspection, you go to the account and you look it over, and it doesn't make any logical sense. It has like fake AI generated images. And they're talking to each other. There's like hundreds and hundreds of these, maybe thousands and thousands of these Facebook accounts, all fake people, all communicating with each other, posting on each other's accounts, and they're not real people. They're like AI people, okay? AI agents, I guess you would say. And so there's all these weird things like that going on currently. Then we got the whole thing with Greenland. So I didn't know, with this video, I didn't know how to put it together because my whole idea with this video is things are changing, getting weird, because they are. Honestly, I mean, we got the files out. No one's getting arrested. That's weird. You got AI going crazy, now becoming super intelligent. You got weird laws about automotive kill switches in your cars. And now you got this weird one with Greenland, because our president was trying to take Greenland. And so I saw a couple strange videos come out on the Greenland topic. Apparently, there's some sort of military base that was way beneath the ice in Greenland, but it's full of radioactive waste. And apparently, the ice is melting. Check this out.
Now, if you had asked anyone back in the United States what was happening in Greenland, they would have told you it was triumph. They would have told you it was a science city. Because officially, this base, which was called Camp Century, was a research station. That's what the army told the public. That's what the government of Denmark, because Greenland was a Danish territory, they said that they were there to test construction techniques. They were there to drill ice cores to study the climate. And to be fair, they did do those things. But the way they built this place was insane. I mean, starting in 1959, under the command of Colonel John Kirkering, the army had driven these massive convoys of tractors across ice. And they used giant Swiss snowblowers called Peter plows to cut deep trenches into the ice.
And they didn't dig tunnels. They cut trenches open to the sky, corrugated steel arches, trenches to make roof. And apparently they were doing some sort of radioactive research. And it makes sense. You would want to do this in a desolate area, whether it be the desert, as we see with some of the other military bases in America where they do nuclear testing, or a desert of winter or snow, as in the case of Greenland. As you can see here, perfect place to test something that could be very dangerous, right? So apparently they were doing lots of different types of testing there, and they had left a lot of radioactive waste. But what's interesting is that NASA rediscovered this base. This base had essentially been encased in ice, okay, over the many, many years. And now it's starting to melt. And apparently there's a ton of radioactive waste there that is going to seep out into the ocean once this fully melts, which could happen in the next, I can't remember the amount of time he said, like a decade or something. There's going to be a ton of radioactive waste going out into the ocean and areas around it. So this is kind of bizarre. Let's play a little bit more. Oh, actually, no, this is a different video. Let's see. Let me play a little bit more of his. I'm trying to remember where he says this stuff at. Yeah, here we go. Let's watch some of this. This is interesting. This is, I think, where it gets into the projects.
Completely behind their backs. But of course, the project had failed. The ice moved too fast, the tunnels deformed, and the missiles would have been crushed. And so the Army had scrapped Project Iceworm, abandoned it, and then pretended that it never happened. When this news came out in 1997, it was a huge diplomatic incident.
So this is what they were doing, other tests besides what they claimed. And then it turned into a disaster, and then it got froze over, and they're just hoping it will stay frozen over forever. Problem solved, but apparently now it's melting. And so you have that story. And what's also interesting about Greenland is, so we had the Cold War, right? It makes sense that they were doing these type of tests there because we were in a Cold War with Russia, and Russia was also trying to get those waters. So this is interesting what Neil deGrasse Tyson says here. And then I'm going to get into an even more bizarre video that shows you something really weird surrounding Greenland. Check this out first out.
During the Cold War, the Soviet Union was our sworn enemy. We, the United States of America, we were spooked into worrying over who might execute a first nuclear strike. With nuclear power, one bomb can take out an entire city, killing millions.
So think about that. So we were in Greenland preparing for Russia. That's basically what that all was. And now, of course, the president wants Greenland back. And what's really bizarre is I noticed this video that popped up, and it showed a map. I've shown this map before. This is from hundreds of years ago. If you ever looked at some of these medieval maps, they have a very different looking North Pole. It's really weird. They say that there's a magnetic mountain at the North Pole. I'm sure you've heard of that before. Everyone just wondered, if maybe they just made this up and put this up on there to just, kind of like people just assumed something strange, had weird stories about the North Pole, and they just drew it on the map, right? Let me show you this. I was trying to get past these ads. So here's the picture of what I'm referring to. But it also shows on top of this magnetic mountain in the center, it shows 4 different continents surrounding the North Pole. And you ask yourself, what the hell are these? And so I did research on this before, and I think it comes back to the fact that during the Middle Ages, the ocean levels were lower. There was a bridge. And if you look at some of these other medieval maps, you'll see that there's a bridge between Russia and North America. And you'll also see there's a lot of ground that is underneath the ocean currently that was not underneath the ocean during certain times in the Middle Ages. So perhaps some of this ground here they're showing is an exaggerated form of some of this land that was actually above the water that no longer is above the water. So perhaps this land is above the water because the oceans were lower at the time. But it shows this weird magnetic pole at the center of these 4 sort of land masses, right? But what's really weird is when you start looking into the trade routes and other routes around this area. Check this out. This is really bizarre. Okay, check this out. Let me play this.
Let me show you something strange. Pull up any marine traffic tracking website. These sites use satellites to show real-time ship movement across the entire Earth. Now look at the Bering Strait. Ships approach it constantly, but almost none actually.
Did you see that? Isn't that crazy looking? So look at that. So the only place that doesn't have anything is right there. All right, let's play this again. And then he gets into the fact that it's not just the ships, it's everything.
Across the entire Earth. Now look at the Bering Strait. Ships approach it constantly, but almost none actually go through. I've been checking sporadically for weeks. The traffic just stops at the threshold. Compare that to Spitsbergen, about 900 miles further north. Ships travel there regularly, despite the extreme latitude. The explanation is ocean currents, but when you look at the actual patterns, something doesn't quite add up. Now check flight tracking sites. Commercial aircraft avoid flying directly over the North Pole region. The official reason is navigational difficulties and emergency landing concerns. That makes sense on the surface, but we're talking about an era where we can land rovers on.
But look at this too. Look at Greenland. It's very sparse with flights. And in the North Pole, there's nothing, right? It's really weird.
On Mars and navigate submarines under ice sheets. GPS technology struggles specifically in the Arctic region, according to multiple studies. Let me read you something. This is from research on Arctic navigation.
More human activity is expected in the Arctic region in the coming decades. However, satellite navigation remains inaccurate and difficult in the region. Why would satellite navigation be inaccurate? More human activity is expected in the Arctic region in the coming decades. However, satellite navigation remains okay, this article is okay. Wherever you are likely reading this from, you can probably take for granted that those can use global positioning system, probably even on your phone, to map out directions to nearby destination. However, GPS is not quite as global as its name suggests. The technology is unreliable in the Arctic, an area of the Earth that is slowly seeing more human activity due to tourism, research, and industry. As the ice recedes in the Arctic, the region may also become a more common passageway to the ships. Accurate navigation is important. So it says that it's inaccurate. And again, that comes back to that map we showed at the beginning, where it shows this weird magnetic pole in the center of these sort of continents. And again, these land masses could be a result of the reason why they're no longer visible, and I don't think they look like this exactly anyways, but the reason why they're no longer visible is because the ocean has gotten much deeper around the world. And you can see it when you look at these Middle-aged maps, that you have an oscillation to the oceans, and that during the Middle Ages, the oceans actually were at their lowest point compared to now. So it is really bizarre in that respect. Perhaps there were land masses in the Middle Ages in these areas, and perhaps there is this weird magnetic mountain that is in the center, and this could cause issues with GPS and things of that nature. Maybe that's why they cannot have reliable GPS and ships do not go to certain areas like that. So it is kind of related to Greenland in that respect. And oh yeah, here's the other one. I had another clip from that other guy's channel. What lurks beneath. All right. So what did he say here? Let me see what he's saying. Yeah, he was talking about the radiation thing. So, okay, I already talked about that though. So you get kind of the idea is that there's something really bizarre about all of this. Like, is there more to why our president wants Greenland, right? It seems like that might very well is the case, that there's a reason. At any rate, that's my video. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.